What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Doc Mac Car channel. Today what I'd like to share with you is how you can purchase a used vehicle and what to look out for in that used vehicle. Purchasing a used car can be one of the most joyous, enjoyable things in the world. However, this can also be the second biggest investment that you make, and if you do make a mistake, it can be one of the most disappointing things in the world. So the purpose of today's video is for you to lessen the chance of making a mistake. Now, it's not a comprehensive thing, but I will show you lots of things to look out for in a used vehicle when you purchase the vehicle. So before I get into this, please consider subscribing to my videos. I do upload a lot of how-to videos, including how to maintain your own car and also how to keep your car nice and shiny with the latest products on the market. Now, I'm going to start on the outside of the vehicle first, and then I'm going to work my way to the engine and then to the back and to the underside of the vehicle and what you need to look out for. So without further ado, let me get into this. Alright guys, so I'm going to start on the body of the vehicle and what you need to look at on the body of the vehicle when you're purchasing it. So the first thing you need to look at is the body gaps, and I'm sure most of you have a question in your head, and that is, what is a body gap? Let me get into that one. So a body gap is basically where the panels meet another panel, and as you can see here, this is the fender, this is the bonnet, that's the bumper cover, that's the grille. So now one panel is the bonnet and that meets the fender right here. So if you look at the seam around here, this should match the other side. So if you go and look on the other side, it looks perfect. And if you come around and look at it on this side, then you can see there's a slight gap over here. Now, looking at it straight, you won't be able to tell, but these are the minor things that people overlook because most people will not even pick it up. Now, this vehicle has never been in a crash. The bonnet was professionally resprayed, so it just needs some minor adjustment needed on this end of the bonnet. The other thing to look for is where the bonnet meets the grille or the bumper in certain cars. Now you can see here, right over here, from the left all the way through to the right, the seam is exactly the same, so that's perfect. It's a very good fit. The other thing to look at in the front of the vehicle is the bumper. So this is the fender, this is the bumper, which is made of plastic. So as you can see here, it looks all right, but as you get closer, you can see that there is a slight gap issue. This would mean that the bumper had been removed before, or either there might have been a minor bump on the bumper which may have caused the clips to move. As you can see here, there's a minor scuff here, and that could have caused something like this. So these are the things to look out for when you're purchasing a vehicle, because these give you telltale signs that possibly there may have been a collision or there may have been just a small bump. I'll get into a more in-depth explanation in a while as to how you can check if at all that is a major one or a small one. What you need to do next is to check the doors. Now, if a vehicle is in a bad crash, the door will actually not shut properly. So if you look at the way the door shuts, perfect. It shuts just like a new vehicle. So you can see that the door here has not been in any crash. Where the door meets the fender, there's no issues at all. Now we're coming out to the back of the vehicle. We're going to open the back door and then you're going to shut it. Look at how perfect the door shuts. So what that tells me is there is no creases on the A pillar, the B pillar, and the C pillar. So what this has told me so far is that from at least here to here, there's been no crashes so far. Okay, now we're coming to the back of the vehicle, and this is the body gap. So you can see along the line here, it looks perfect, nothing out of the ordinary, so that looks good. Now we're going to see on the other side of the vehicle. Over here, there's a bit of a slight concern here. So if you can see there's a slight gap, but yet from here you can't see anything. So you need to look a little bit closer, and this is just a small issue where the clip just needs to be pushed in. Now I can push in the clip, but I've not pushed it in just for the sake of this video so that you guys can see it. The rear bumper had also been resprayed because the paint work on this vehicle is relatively new, about 3 years old. So it just needs to be pushed back in. But these are the things which can indicate a rear end damage, which this vehicle has never been in a crash, but it's just a few things that you guys need to know. Alright, the other thing to look for is the wheel arch gap to the tire, the front and the back. So what you need to do is you need to put your fingers in here and see how many fingers can fit the gap in between here and here, and then you need to find out here to here. Okay, now you need to go on the other side of the vehicle and you'll need to do the same thing. Now if they match, then the chances are that there's been no rear end damage on the vehicle at all. Alright, so now we're going to go into the boot. Now you can see where the rear quarter panel meets the boot, the lines are relatively straight, and you can see the lines of the light is relatively straight here. Now if this has been in a crash, you will see that these will not be straight. These are perfectly straight, and the car has done 138,000 miles. It's perfectly straight, so the boot to the quarter panel is straight and there's no issues right there. Alright, now the boot is a bit dirty because I'm working on the vehicle, so I'm going to do more car detailing videos, so make sure to be tuned in for that one. Now what to look out for is on the back part of the vehicle you will have the quarter panel which has been spot welded in all the way up to the front. So if you look at this side, I can't see any sign of any crash or work being done outside of the factory, so that looks good. If you look at this side, looks perfect as well. And what you need to do as well is you need to remove this little cover and you need to look inside the spare tire well area, and that'll tell you whether it's been crashed or not. That is a very difficult thing to get straight if it's been inside a crash. So now moving back to the front of the vehicle, in fact what I'll do is on the back of the vehicle, now if at all this, let's say for example this panel has been welded back in and has been in a crash, which this vehicle hasn't been, but I'm just doing it for a test. What you need to do is there's this weather stripping right here, and what you need to do is you need to put your thumb in there and try to pull it down. And as you can see, it's quite tight, so the chances are that it has not been welded in. I'll try to get it out for you. Alright, so now I've gotten that bit out for you. Now what this would mean is, let's say if this unit had been replaced, you will see some welding spots right here, like it's been cut and it's been pasted, and I can't see any sign of that one right there. Now before you do this, make sure you ask the owner and make sure that they're comfortable with you doing it, and don't do it without their permission. So if you see, if I pull this one a little further down, looks perfect. There's no sign of crash damage right here at all. Alright, so how I pulled it down was I just pushed my thumb and then pull it down, and don't force it, it should come out perfectly well. And as you can see, I'm going to go a little closer. Looks perfect. There's no sign of damage. So what that tells me is from this end to at least here, there's no damage. So what I'm going to do to push it back is I'm going to press it gently and then just tap it back in, and then you need to shut the door to make sure that it shuts properly. That's good. Now you're going to do the same for the front of the vehicle. What you need to do is you need to just push down and press with your thumb, but you need 2 hands for this, and I'm going to do that and get back to you. Alright, I'm now back, and as you can see, there's literally no damage right here, and there's no damage that I can see right here. Now you want to try to avoid doing this area because the airbag area is here as well. Now if any of this parts has been done, you'll see new paint, or you'll see weld spots. Not this weld spot, you'll see like actual cut and weld spot. This is a spot weld, but what I'm referring to is actual like TIG welding, like a line that would indicate that it's been in a crash. So this one looks perfectly fine. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push it back in. Now you can do the same for this part of the vehicle as well, but you just need to push it back in the same way that you took it out. Alright, now if you look over here, you can see that the paint is almost the same around, so there's no chance of damage right there. And some of the common things to look out for in the bodywork is you'll see that on some vehicles when they've been repainted, there'll be a tape line right here. So you'll see a slight color difference, and there's no color difference here, so it looks perfectly good to me. So it sits properly, and shut the door. Perfect, it shuts properly. Now I'm going to go to the front of the vehicle. This is the fender, and this part right behind here is what you call an apron. Now the apron, which is that one right there, that is what holds the fender in. So you need to make sure that the apron on this end and the apron on that end is relatively straight. So when you look at it, this one right here, you'll be able to eyeball it and see that it's straight, just like it is on this side. So to me, that apron there looks perfect and it's not been in a crash, and this apron here looks perfect and it's not been in a crash. Now the other thing to look for in a front end impact is your frame rail. Now that is your frame rail right there, that silver color piece. This one right here and there. This is one long bar coming from the firewall all the way to the front, and it meets just behind the bumper here. And you can see that's your frame rail there. Now if that is damaged in a crash, it will be very noticeable that it's been welded back. So that indicates to me that there's been no accidents right here, no accidents right here. Now a frame rail will have a reinforcement bar attached to it, which is a bar which goes in this way and it plugs into the frame rails. So in case of a front end collision, the first thing to get it is your rebar. But as long as your frame rails are straight and it's not being welded, you can see some factory welds there, but there's nothing out of the ordinary. So alright guys, so that is the end of the front of the vehicle. That's already done. That tells me there's been no crash right then. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to put our fingers right here and see how many fingers fit in between this rocker panel here and the tire, and how many fingers fit in between the tire and the start of the bumper right here. Now you need to do the same on the other end, and that will show you that if at all it's the same, no crash has occurred in the front or nothing has been squished. Alright guys, this is the end of part 1 on how you can purchase a used vehicle and what to look for in that used vehicle. Now this has proven to me that this vehicle has never been in a crash before, and only minor body work has been done. Now it's not to say that it's not had minor scuffs which has been repainted, that has been done, but this proves that there's been no major structural damage on this vehicle. So stay tuned and I'll show you how you can look over the rest of the vehicle, including the engine, the underside and the inside of the vehicle as well, and the under back part of the vehicle, including the under wheel areas and what to look for in there, and the back as well. So stay tuned, stay subscribed, and stay active on my channel. Have a great day. Cheers. Bye.